Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. I should see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where I'm fresh off a second D&D session, the second introductory session, with two more of my friends. I think it went pretty well. This one certainly went a little bit less according to what I expected. Not to say that was like completely off the rails or anything, but certainly a little bit more improv in there. Which is always fun. I was certainly saying, and you seem to have a fun time. So now we're getting on to the third one, I suppose, next week on Monday. And we'll have to see how that goes. But good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:02 p.m. on Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I suppose I have these sort of like running post-game commentaries on these D&D sessions, which kind of doesn't really make much sense, I think, in the Animal Crossing series, because you can't even see like what happened during a D&D session. It's not like a critical role where you've got the VOD or something going on. Yeah, I don't know. there are a few things like again, it turns out they tend to be a lot stronger than I expected. Well, it's a sort of thing with level 1 where you tend to be very sort of sink or swim, where it's like, you know, you basically, that's how my friend put it, which I think, you know, she described it very well. It's like, if we hit, we do so much damage, and then, but if we don't, we obviously do nothing, and then when we get hit, we take a lot of damage. It's a very dicey moment where, like, this one was a little bit different. It started immediately off with combat. Almost within the first few minutes compared to the other session, which had, you know, quite a ways before it went actually into combat. And then it was like the first like hit that happened was like a zombie on one of the characters, and she was brought down. It did like she had like 10 health, and it did like 7 damage or something. It rolled a max hit, and I was like, ooh, I wonder if these enemies are too strong. And I got a little bit worried, because I know my friends, they did roll high on stats, so you know, I made it a little bit harder than you might expect. But I did give them also another DM controlled player character with them to help them out. And they went fine. And then they had a second battle later, which I expected to be more of a stealth thing, where as they tried to escape and run away, but then ended up, you know, going slightly wrong, and they sprung into action into battle, and that also got incredibly dicey. But hanging on with a sliver, and you know, a few lucky rolls meant that they actually just kind of like decimated the fight. And to be fair, I did make, you know, don't tell them this, they're probably not watching, the enemy they fought, I gave them an easier version, because the CR rating of his enemy was 1, and I was like, there's 3 of them, and they're going to probably be injured from the previous battle. I'm not sure if I should put this thing at full power. Basically what I did is, like, I removed the resistances for the enemy. Normally the enemy would have resistances to their weapons, because they had non-magical weapons, but then I was like, okay, that's going to be too difficult, I think, otherwise, so let's not put that in. Because that's the beauty, I suppose, of DMing. You can improvise as things go. Because I'm like, I don't want to see our rating of 1. I just want to spook, I suppose, after the actual battle. I want it to seem kind of scary. But it turns out they just kind of like dispatched it, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, what was I going to say about that? So yeah, it was a fun time. I think it's what's most fun about it is the fact that each of these intro sessions, like, it's more fun from a DM perspective because I get to see all 4 of them. They all have like very sort of different flavors going on about them. They have different dynamics and that sort of thing. The first one felt like there's a lot of talk about strategy, like what should we do? Should we do this? Should we do that? A lot of planning, that sort of thing, and some very high lucky rolls. And this one felt a bit more like showy, I suppose, where it was just like, oh, things are very sort of mellow, and then suddenly, boom, something big happens, and it's like, whoa, everyone goes, wow, that's crazy. And I can't wait to see what the other 2 are going to be like. I have a feeling the third one might be rather roleplay heavy, and I have a feeling the fourth one might be incredibly chaotic, but we'll sort of see how things pan out. But yeah, I don't know, that was my sort of like mini review of a D&D session today. At the end of the day, I'm just glad that people are having fun with it. Especially because, you know, this is a lot of them, so like first sort of foray into this sort of thing, so, you know, it can be a little bit hesitant the first time, but, you know, obviously we're friends, so we're giving it our best effort, you know, in the first place. Yeah, I don't know, that wasn't going to be what I was going to talk about today. What should we talk about today? At some point I need to do like these session write-ups and add things to it, but I'm going to close that out otherwise. Yeah, was it about like a Pokemon Direct or something today, or was there some, I don't really remember. There's something today. Penny's Big Breakaway official launch trailer. This sounds familiar, but why do I know this? Is this like a Mega Man sort of thing? mute that. It looks like, or it doesn't look like Mega Man at all. It looks like a 3D platformer. Interesting. Looks kind of cool. No, wasn't there like some Pokemon thing, some Nintendo thing? Didn't like, was it a Nintendo Direct? I don't actually know if that's what they are anymore. Because I saw people, like, spoilers I suppose about the Nintendo Direct if you haven't seen it. I saw people talking about Mother. And I don't mean like your actual mother, like your mum. I mean quite literally the game Mother, and otherwise known as Earthbound in the West. Mother 3 is coming to Switch online in Japan only. Oh no! Oh, that's why people were talking about it so much. If you don't know, Mother 3 is like a very sort of beloved game. Like, I only know much about it because of Chugga Conway, who is a YouTuber I used to watch, who played... Wait, was it Chugga Conway who played it? I think it was. I can't remember. Like, Earthbound with Ness was released in the West. It was, like, localized and all that sort of thing, and people loved it. And then Mother 3, otherwise known as Earthbound 2, was released in Japan, but then it never made its way over to the West for who knows necessarily what reason. But it's also kind of much beloved, so much beloved, that people, fans themselves, took it upon themselves to localize it. So they took the game, they, like, ROM hacked it, and then they put in English translations for everything and English typesetting, etc., for the entire game. I remember there was like this ongoing project by, I can't remember what the team was called, doing it, and it was like sort of crazy to see. This was like, I was so young, I feel like, when I heard about this, and then like that's it, they translated it, and then I watched Chugga Conway play through it, and I was like, this is a really cool game. There's a lot of like interesting mechanics of it, but one which sticks with me is the fact that health, it's sort of like, it's a turn-based strategy game, like at its core, a turn-based role-playing game at its core, but then it's also got like a little bit of real-time strategy element, like the smallest amount, not really real-time strategy, but basically when you take damage, instead of taking all the damage at once, what happens is you'll be like minus 100 hit points, and then your health bar will slowly, well not slowly, will like quite rapidly tick down, which means but this sort of like tick down animation can be interrupted by other things. So if you land a heal on them instead, you can basically cancel out like some of those hit points, because the healing will now like start to tick it up instead. It will like overwrite the previous action. If you end the battle, then again it will stop the clickers. It will stop the health from dropping, and you will take less damage otherwise. And you can also sometimes, if you're fast enough, you can get an action in with, like, if you're on 50 health points and you take 100 hits of damage, then you can get in like an action sometimes if you are fast enough to get your turns through. And I was like, that's such a cool concept. Like a way to, instead of it just being a pure turn-based RPG by itself, it has this sort of like real-time element to it at the same time, which means you got to sort of keep on your toes. It sort of like encourages, oh, I got to think quick, I got to be quick, I got to be like, yeah, this is what I need to. Okay, we should actually check. I didn't check if I have any Nookmar missions, which we should do on here. It's got to keep you on your toes. Chop wood, sell fruit, talk to people. Okay, it's got to keep you on your toes. You know, you got to be like, I got to just sort of plow through. Like, I could take the time and think about exactly what my next move is going to be, but I'm going to take the full damage, I suppose, of this attack. Or if I can just like mash attack on all my characters really quickly, then maybe I can get through without taking any extraneous damage. I'm like, that's such a cool concept, isn't it? I think it's a cool concept. So I'm not surprised that people are upset that Mother 3 is not. Stop waiting for Nintendo to localize Mother 3 and just play the fan translation already. True. Nintendo is never going to localize Mother 3. It's a real shame about that, you know. They do not care about that fan translations exist. Just play it. He's spitting straight facts. It is a shame, I'd say, but I guess from Nintendo's eyes, there's not really much need to. Because as popular as it is as sort of like a fan classic game, I think most people don't really know about Mother 3 or like the Earthbound series in general in the West. It's only if you're like, not even like, you had to be a pretty big Nintendo fan, I think, in the first place to even know about Earthbound outside of maybe like, oh, Ness from Smash Bros, right? Yeah. And I'm sure even because there's like a really good fan translation out already, there's Nintendo's sort of like, well, why would we bother localizing it when, you know, the people who don't have it localized of them, a niche group as they are, already have like a means to play it in the first place. It is a bit of a shame. Like, I suppose part of it's to do like the symbolism of it in the first place, and it's not like if they released this game in the West, like re-released it, people wouldn't be like, wow, that's crazy, you know. I'm surprised they haven't like remade Earthbound or something. I'm not sure. But some music oh yeah, that's another thing I saw about it, is that this game has like music sampling, which is legal in Japan, but certainly could be a bit, as this person puts it, iffy in the West. Oh no, wait, Nintendo America's iffy on. It's nothing to do with content. It simply doesn't make business sense to localize it. Yeah, honestly, it doesn't. Like, as much as I think Mother and the Earthbound series is a cool series, I don't know how popular it would be in the West. You know, turn-based RPGs are the lifeblood of Japanese Nintendo games. Sometimes, like think about all the popular franchises which use them, like Pokemon, Final Fantasy. I was saying Kingdom Hearts, but I don't think that's real-time strategy. But I think that's real-time strategy, isn't it? Or is that like an action beat 'em up? There's so many, like RPGs, like Octopath and Disgaea, I think. Was that other one? I don't know. There's another one that I was trying to think of, but I can't think of. Which is not nearly as popular in the West. I feel like I don't know what the most predominant genre of video game is in the West. The most popular. Actually, it's probably like sport or something. At least if the UK is anything to go by, with the prevalence of FIFA and that sort of thing. I was going to say it's probably like shooters or maybe like action adventure games. I don't know. I'm honestly just sort of guessing here, but it could be. I can certainly see it being that. I don't really have much reason to believe it's not that, I suppose. Yeah, where was I going with this? I honestly don't really remember. Yeah, so I remember the amount of money that you had to invest, I suppose, into it to get the to get the translation going, as well as to get the to get it up to the standard of a fan translation. It probably is not worth it. Would be cool, actually. What if Nintendo like struck a deal with a fan translation? It was like, yeah, can we publish this? Take this as our own and publish it or something. I don't know. We probably don't want to do that, but you know. I think the only thing I can conceivably see happening is if they want to like remake it, but I don't know if Earthbound is really a sort of remake sort of based game, you know? Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. Nintendo's got plushies of 4 characters and Mother 3. New Epic Mickey remake. It's got a Steam page. I didn't know it was a new Epic Mickey. Apparently the Mickey games are sort of like popping off, you know. Like, the first Epic Mickey I heard was like really, really good, actually. But also there was that Disney, not the Animal Crossing simulator, not the other, the platformer. What's it called? I've heard it's like actually pretty good. What's that? Disney, or that Mickey Mouse platformer game. I should know what it's called. Illusion Island. Like, I've heard it's actually a pretty good game. Illusion Island, I think, at least. What's this critical reception at? 7 out of 10 to 9s out of 10. Yeah, that's like a pretty good game, I would say. And its animation is kind of like spectacular, I would say. In usual Disney fashion, I suppose. The visuals on point. Actually, this Disney Epic Mickey store looks pretty good as well. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'll play it. Maybe I won't. I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. Oh, it's a Pokemon Presents I was thinking of. There's a Nintendo leak of a 100% track record. Oh. Nintendo Direct. Lego X Animal Crossing pre-order? That's February 27th. Oh, so it's in a week's time is the other thing. You might be like, are you going to get those Lego sets? I don't really think so. It's been a long while since I've last played with it. Like, I don't know, it might be fun to assemble, but I don't really know where I'd put them after I've assembled them. I don't really have like a good display area for them. Or if I do, they're currently, I guess, taken up by plushies. You know, that's very true. I'd probably much rather have a plushie rather than a Lego set. Not to say a Lego set is bad. If you like them, more power to you. Just not necessarily the thing I would want. Anyway, localization. Yes. It's difficult to localize these games. There's a lot of actually, it's crazy to think about the amount of content out there which you will never be privy to because it was like not localized for your country or for your language, so you can't really engage with it. Like, I mean, I feel like the one which is most sort of prevalent is obviously, for video games at least, tends to be like Japanese things, right? If you even have a mild inkling of liking any anime-based sort of video games, you'll like never get to really play most of them in the West. You can only really play them in Japan. Like I mean, case in point, like a lot of the games I play, a lot of these gacha games I play, not all of them have Western localization. Project Sakai does. So if you want to, you can always, of course, play that in the English server. But Idolmaster, none of the Idolmasters I play, Shiny Colors or Cinderella Girls, do, which is a shame because I think it's a good one. But I also understand it because those are very, very story lore based, I suppose. Well, actually, I guess Cinderella Girls isn't really. And to be fair, Project Sakai is as well. I don't know. It's just like, financially, I guess it doesn't make sense because it doesn't feel like it would have enough business appeal in the West because it's not really what the West cares too much about. Such that it's like, you know, they don't even bother. Which I can't really fault them for, to be perfectly honest. That's like a very fair, sensible business move. But if only, I guess is what I sort of think. If only life weren't like that. If only they just localize it and it'd be all great, you know? Yes. I forgot what I was going to do. You know what I was going to do is I was going to not do that, but I put this in the wrong thing. I was sorting out my Steam inventory because I need to put the next game from my waiting list into the current series. Where is it? This one. Oh, no. I had to add to current series. Remove from waiting list. And then I need to install it. How big is it? Wow, it's so big! Oh, but I have a lot of space on my disk. Okay, never mind. It's 70 gigabytes. Okay, I was going to record some today, but I don't know how long it's going to take to actually install. 3 minutes? I don't know. That's fine. I can play some Genshin. I can play some Star Rail. I'll probably play it tomorrow and record some. And today I will, I don't know. I guess I got to work on the next D&D session. This one's going to be an interesting one. Because this one I feel like is the more unusual of all of them. Like the first two have been relatively standard, but the third session is two people who have played D&D before. So it's not quite like that unusual. I'm not like reaching that far beyond the realms of reality or anything like that. But it's a less conventional level 1 start. Which hopefully it's fun. I don't know how it's going to work, to be perfectly honest, but... Where is Fauna? I thought we saw Fauna. We just need to chat with someone. I need somebody. Help. Not just anybody, because I'm in Nookmart missions. Yeah, localization. It's a shame that a lot of these games won't get localized. These like really good games that I'm sure people would love to play, but again, it's just not enough people, I suppose, from a business perspective to do it. And you might be like, "Well, are you taking a business side?" I'm not necessarily taking a business side. I'm just saying I understand why it doesn't happen. In an ideal world, these things would just happen anyway. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a financial loss or something, but it was like for the good of it, you know? Because it deserves to be seen by more people. So, apologies to all Mother 3 fans, or Mother fans, and Earthbound fans in general. Maybe one day you'll get your localization, but until then, I suppose you have a very good fan translation at the end of the day. Which, you know, fair enough if you're like, I want to play it on, like, an actual console instead. Anyway, I'm going to round this episode off here, I think. So, excuse me. If you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Bye-bye for now.